Hope you have a nice weekend. And so here's the COT data video for the 23rd of January. You can see the big boost that the euro had, and we had the euro USD buy signal, as you'd want to be buying the euros over the USD at that point because we had the crossover. You can see how we're steadily declining on USD. We went to 13,000 from 16,000. So the big fish, the net non-coms, the banks and the institutions, they are selling the USD ever so slightly, and we might continue to go this way, and then we might break zero, which would be interesting if we did, but we're still not there yet. So we're still above zero, but it's declining over time. So it's just softening over time a little bit. And the 25 basis point hike is pretty much priced in at the Fed meeting. It's 97% probability. So very, very unusual if we didn't have a 25 basis point hike. If we had a 50, then it'll just be, those projections are completely out of bonk. So a little bit of softness on the USD. And the ECB was saying about how they're going to hike 25 basis points as well. And that came out last week. It was a bit of a shock. No one really knew to expect it. And so there's the decline in the Euro FX. They were going to hike 50 basis points, and now they're 25 basis points. So it might be that the Euro is getting a bit too carried away, potentially, and that's why they released that news. So that's the Euro FX. So there's your buy signal, obviously in the past now, but that's how you use this document. If there's any issues at all with loading, or if you've got any questions, let us know, and I'll be happy to help. But this is available to all COT customers, this document. So definitely use it. It's very good, and you can look at any permutation, like maybe pound CAD, for example. You might be trading that particular pair. Yen, well, a big increase actually, 46 to 22. So that's of note. So fairly bullish. We'd want it above zero ideally to be like fully bullish on the yen, but it looks like we're going to go towards zero, and it looks like we're going to get a dollar yen sell signal, but we haven't got the crossover yet. So wait for that. That's going to be probably 3 weeks time, and even if we did get the cross, you'd have to be really careful anyway. But that's the UJ sell coming up, as you can see. Hopefully that's clear. Take euro off. We'll look at gold. Now, the thing is with gold, we're taking out a lot of retail stops on the way up. And if you'd been following the Patreon videos every day, we were looking for longs based on the COT data and the fact that profitable traders were long. Using the profit ratio indicator in MetaTrader 4, the FX SSI indicators. The profit ratio is telling us that the smart traders were long. And so we used that as a good bias, and we were basically targeting stop loss clusters above. But my only issue is that we probably might have raided so many stops now, we might have a little breather, and we've got a bit of resistance up here as well, as you can see. So that's going to create some resistance there. So there's a big demand, and it could be a supply here. So I think maybe be a little bit careful, gold. We have definitely squeezed a lot of people on that move, so be careful. Let's take gold off, and we'll look at Aussie. And so they're both in ascent, so you'd want to probably be avoiding that AJ. Yeah, AJ sell currently. That's what that's telling us, because the yen is more aggressive than the Australian dollar. So that would mean AJ sell. Okay, that's fairly risk off. But so just be careful. They're both negative as well. So ideally, you'd want one above zero, but it looks like the dollar might be coming down now, doesn't it? So that is going to be interesting, and whether or not we will remains to be seen. We'll take Aussie off, and then we'll look at pound. And basically, pound yen is no signal. This is no crossover, so that's anything to be said there. Potentially, GU buy. If the dollar comes down and the pound comes up, then GU make a buy. The cable rate will be buy at the crossover, but we're not there yet. Take pound off. CAD. Likewise, CAD yen. There isn't really anything to be said there. CAD yen theoretical short, because the yen is slightly stronger than the CAD, and it's worth showing you. this as well. The CAD is the weakest, and then the Kiwi is the strongest. Okay, so this is the retail sentiment. So they're long on CAD and they're short on Kiwi. All right, so just so you're aware of that, this is how we stand now. It's obviously subject to change a lot. By this time tomorrow, this is going to be all pretty changed. And so let's have a look back here. So no signal yet. Potentially CAD yen short. Potentially. Ideally, you'd want a better crossover, like CAD to come down, and then that would be a nice confirmation. Take that off, and then we'll look at Kiwi, because we know on the bubbles there's New Zealand dollar, so we're positive, which is interesting. 6,000 from 7,400, so there's a slight decline of positions. And just to remember, it's a buy, CAD's a sell. Okay, so Kiwi CAD could be a good trade for a long, potentially, but there's no crossover here. Potentially NU buy, potentially, and then we'll look at the Swiss franc, and then we're done. Yep, and probably just consolidating. We're ranging very much, and potentially Swiss yen short if the yen continues higher like this, which it might do. And so don't forget, you can check any like permutation, maybe pound CAD for example, and then you can look for buy or sell signals there, and then it's how you use it. And obviously you take things off that you're not interested in. And so pound CAD, there's no signal there, but that's just an example of a variable that you could have. You may be interested in Aussie Euro, the Euro Oz. Take pound off. And so we didn't get the crossover, but we nearly had one there. So that's how you use it anyway. And you can see how much stronger the euro is than the Australian dollar. So that's of note. And don't forget, there's all different tabs to here that you can use and have a look at, and lots of cool, funky things that you can examine, and hedge fund sentiment as well, which is pretty awesome. And don't forget, at the very end, there's a difference from the week prior as well. That's what the new update is. So you can have a look at that, and that should help as well. So have a great weekend. I'll speak to you guys soon.